Finally, man, it's good to be back. It has been way too long. In case you guys don't know what happened, that happened. I'm not gonna read it all. Basically, there was just some major issues with my channel. But yeah, man, it's good to be back. Hopefully you guys missed me. And we have got some juice. Yesterday was pretty much a holiday. You guys all know Mike Wang. He goes on Twitter like one day a year, and yesterday was that day. We got a ton of juice on 2K20, LD, Mike Wang, a little bit of Ronnie. Like, it was basically just all over the place. And the demo comes out in 2 weeks, which is crazy to think about. So this is everything we know about 2K20. The player system or archetype system, whatever you want to call it, the rep system, the gameplay, the content. There's a lot in this video. Make sure you guys drop a like down below, especially if you're excited. We're back. Let's get right into it. I have been begging 2K to take out Archetypes next year, just because like we had not had a game with Archetypes. They've tried it 3 times now that was balanced, that had a good skill gap, that had a good meta. I mean, you guys get the point. The best 2K of all time was 2K16. The highest skill gap of all time was 2K16. And there was no Archetypes. Now, LD, you know, shout out to LD if you're watching this, my guy. There's a clip of him at, I think, the 2K League Finals, and, you know, he didn't want to get fired, so he didn't say everything, but they're calling the new player system next year the My Player Builder, and from what he said, it looks like we might not actually have Archetypes next year. Roll the clip.
Like my job, so I'm not going to say too much, but I will say that one thing that we're all very excited about, of course, is the announced My Player Builder coming in the demo. The My Player Builder, we really want to give the fans their ability to create what they want, how they want, and I'll just kind of leave it at that.
What they want, how they want. I mean, let's be honest, when you build an archetype, is it really how you want your player to be? Like, when you make a pure stretch, I mean, they can already do pretty much everything, but you want him to be able to dunk on people too, right? Okay, that's probably a bad example, but like, the point is that that's basically like 2K15, kind of 2K16, where you build your player how you want, and how you upgrade him is how he plays. It's not like anything with archetypes where you have a set limit of what you can upgrade, and you're basically limited to like 1 or 2 things. I don't know, maybe I'm getting carried away. Actually, let me know in the comments. Type 1 if you think this means there's no more archetypes, and type 2 if you think we're still getting them back. Maybe I'm getting my hopes up, I don't know. Now, on top of that, I don't know if 2K is listening to me, because this is what I said, remember, in my wish list. But in the demo, you're going to be able to make multiple builds. That's been confirmed, and I heard that you're going to be able to play with like upgraded versions of them and test them. Now, this is what I interpret test as. I mean, when you play the prelude for 2K19 and you make, I don't know, a 2-way defender, a 2-way slasher, and he's a 60 overall, no badges, playing in China, making limitless range 3s, dunking on people, because it's on like below rookie difficulty, and then you go to the park and you get dropped off by a bunch of old heads. Is that really testing your build? Because no matter how terrible your build is, in the prelude, you're going to be making everything regardless. And that's a non-upgraded version of him. So I hope that like there's actually realistic sliders and stuff like that, where we can actually get a good sense of, you know, how the build will play. You guys don't know. I'm going to be testing like every build in the game, even if there's archetypes or not, and finding the best builds for you guys. But no archetypes plus that, like, that's a huge W. Now, the big, you know, main thing of everything we got yesterday was badges. They're making a ton of changes to them, and I took a lot of screenshots. Like, there were probably 30 or 40 tweets just to do with badges. Now, I don't know why this person ended up deleting his tweet, but basically Mike Wang replied to him saying, most of the badges in 2K19 that we had are returning. A lot of them were changed, you know, tweaked. A lot of the overpowered ones were nerfed, just stuff like that. So, for example, free throw ace isn't a badge anymore, it's an attribute. So the principle is still basically the same. They left a lot of the 2K19 badges in, but LD confirmed that there are like 80 badges in the game. 80. Now, the bad thing about this is that my favorite badge in NBA 2K19, they did decide to take out, and that would be charge card. I'm joking. Nobody cared about charge card. Okay, if your favorite badge is charge card, you have to be over the age of 45. Nah, but seriously, they did take out charge card and I guess a couple more wasted badges. Now, this tweet is kind of what I said before with them saying they nerfed a lot of the overpowered badges, like, I don't know, pickpocket. But he also said they're going to continue to balance the badges after the game's been released. And that was kind of my issue with the last 3 2Ks being unbalanced. Like, the game would come out unbalanced, that's fine. It's very hard to come out with that. But then it would take so long for them to fix the unbalance. Everybody would have already made, you know, the overpowered build that year, and then the game's unbalanced forever. You know, last year was post scores, lockdowns, stretch bigs, 2K17 the speed boosting sharpshooters. Like, they never really end up balancing it quick enough. But like I said, there's pretty much double the badges, so we got a bunch of info on some of the new badges that we're gonna get. One called quick first step, it's kind of self-explanatory. Ankle breaker's back, but there's like more specific ankle breaker badges, like there's one that works for step backs. Now, this is probably gonna be my favorite badge next year. Handles for days. Now, I've talked about the fact that every player in 2K19 has asthma, and they can't dribble for more than 4 seconds without running out of breath. So they have a badge called Handles for Days, which will allow you to dribble for longer. Hopefully it's still long enough. Like with triple Gatorade boost last year, I still couldn't dribble for like more than 3 seconds. So hopefully that's, you know, effective, and we don't have to pay 1,000 VC for every park game we play. Interceptor is back. You guys remember that badge, I think, in 2K16. And replying to the one and only Agent Beamstar, there's a badge called Giant Slayer. Now, pretty vulgar there, Mike. I mean, like slaying. Anyway, I guess it helps guards score over like bigs in the paint. Like, I don't know. Now, this one's gonna be great for all you post scorers out there. They have a deep fades badge. I mean, you guys saw my 99 overall pure post video. He wasn't fading from the 3-point line or anything, but now they have a badge for that, so that's gonna be great. And then they have one called Deep Hooks for hook shots, so maybe we'll be making 3-point hook shots. And then Mr. Baluba dropped a bomb. He said everybody's favorite badge, Volume Shooter's back. Now, if you guys don't remember this badge caused people to delete players. Like, it was that bad. I think the last time I was in the game was 2K16, but if you took too many shots in my career, I think it was more than like 35 shots in 10 games, you would get a badge where if you weren't consistently shooting throughout like a part game, you would actually get cold. So people would delete their players over this. So when he said that this was back, and I guess it works a little bit differently this year, everybody was like, no, like, no! Imagine deleting your player over a badge. Like, that's literally how bad it was. So we kind of let everybody just, I guess, panic. And then a few hours later, he said it was only a positive badge, because that was like the only negative badge we've ever had in 2K. For you sharps and stretches, you know, catch and shoot and difficult shots are back. There's an off-ball badge called Slippery Off-Ball. You know, you can slip between the defenders. I don't think we've ever had an off-ball badge before. There's new defensive badges, clamps for lockdowns. There's actually a badge meant to stop post scores. Hopefully it works. There's different rebounding badges like Worm and Box and Rebound Chaser. There's new badges for pretty much everything in the game, which I do like a lot. And then finally, for I guess the slashing badges, Posterizer is gone. There's one called Contact Finisher, which will help you make more smothered layups. That's lovely. Okay, I know I'm making fun of a lot of these badges, but I mean, let's be realistic here. Like, Contact Finisher will make smothered layups go in. And then there's one badge which probably is one of the most important badges, because I think everybody is going to have it regardless of the build, and that is Microwave. Now, it's not called Microwave next year. It's called Hot Start, and I think it's different because the way Microwave worked last year is that it just made you get takeover faster. But this one's basically saying, like, the more consecutive shots you make, the higher your boosts go or the longer your boosts last. I think it is important though, because everybody's pretty much gonna have it, but I think you guys get the point. Like, we have a ton of new badges in the game for every different kind of build. Not gonna say Archetype because I don't know if that's what it is. And there's also one big badge that people thought they were gonna bring back, which is the Grand Badge in this clip right here. Like, the takeover is basically the Grand Badge, and that's what made me originally think dual archetypes were confirmed, because this would be dual takeover, right? But when I thought about it, every NBA player is unique in their own attributes and stuff like that, and they just give them the takeover based on what's closest fitting to whatever archetype they want to give them. And it could just be the same thing for players as well. Like, if you make just a center but you max out the defending, then you'll probably have the rim protector. Now, I do like takeover, just the problem in 2K19 was it was way too overpowered. Like, post-score takeover. Like, I made so many videos just showing how that shouldn't be in the game. One of the biggest complaints were lockdowns. I mean, there were people running 3 lockdowns at stage because it was so overpowered. And your boy, the one and only Ronald Singh, was on stream, and he was basically saying that lockdowns are even better next year.
Lockdown is going to be a lot better improved. I mean, that was a tough build to play, a pure lock.
Okay, now let me get this straight. I don't think lockdowns themselves are that overpowered, other than the whole shooting limitless threes. I just think they did playmakers dirty. Like, when a lockdown gets takeover, yeah, it's way too overpowered on a playmaker, but on something like a stretch big or like a post score or something, they barely rip them. So I don't think the actual takeover is overpowered. I just think for playmakers in particular, they just couldn't dribble and they'd always get ripped by lockdowns. On top of the whole spamming hands up defense thing. But anyway, after Ronnie said this on stream, people were like, yo, we cannot have another year of people running 3 lockdowns. And LD said, I played pure lock all year. He understands the complaints about them and to not worry too much. And I just hope they know how to balance the game. Like, when it first comes out, yeah, it might not be that balanced, but like, we cannot have 3 centers, 3 locks, post rim, post glass. Like, we cannot have this for another year. And I'm sure all you guys agree. Speaking of lockdowns, you know, another thing I complained about a lot are bump steals. Yeah, I just don't like them. They basically fixed the bump steals. They redid a lot of the dribbler defender interactions. Now, someone asked Mike Wing about slashers. I'm sure a lot of you old heads would like to hear this. I'm a slasher and I'm not an old head. Okay, we get it. He's basically saying that if anything, they're too overpowered in terms of like the way they're launching the game, which is interesting because slashers have never really been a part of any meta in any 2K. Maybe Pro-Am, but like not Park or Stage. But you know what has? the lovely post score. Okay, I've been talking about post scores a lot in this video, but I have one, so I know how broken and overpowered and just the lack of skill needed to prosper with that build. But someone tweeted at Mike basically saying all this work that they're putting into the whole post system, this and that, was basically ruined last year with the speed boosting and the shoulder charging post top 1. Like, it basically came down to 3 moves, everything else was just washed. And Mike Wang, I guess, doesn't really know much about that. Another complaint, stretch bigs dribbling. Fun fact, they are the hardest to rip up in the game. And I thought this was big because the problem with stretch bigs was never really the shooting over. Like, obviously that was a problem at first, but it came down to the fact that they would just be running point guard and you would be seeing 3 centers because they would dribble better than playmakers. And from what it looks like, that will be fixed. Fat W. So we got a ton of stuff with the whole player build system, archetype, whatever you want to call it, with the badges, the balancing, how players are going to work next year. But this is something that nobody really talked about because it wasn't like the most direct response. And I said in my wish list that this was a huge problem for 2K, and if they could fix it, it'd make the game so much better. And it was the fact that players just took so long to make, and you had to invest way too much time just to be able to see if you liked a player. So there were some people talking in a thread, and it came down to somebody saying, what if you could create your player so fast that you wouldn't need a rebirth? Because the whole point of a rebirth is just to bypass the hours and hours of badge grinding. And LD replied with not the most direct response, but the gif is like the dude, you know, going like I don't know, man. So if they really listen, like, the game is looking really good right now. And what makes all of that even better is something I kind of came up with yesterday. At LD2K, was there a reason you guys didn't mention that badges could be upgraded in Park? Not talking about neighborhood badges. We're going to talk about that later. And LD said yes. So I tried to, you know, put some pieces together. And the first thing it sounds like is that we're going to go back to grinding badges in my crew. So when you first hear that, you're like, oh, that's bad. You know, I liked grinding badges in Park. But when you think of it, okay, the previous tweet was saying, what if you could create players so fast you don't need a rebirth? AKA, you don't need to spend all this time grinding badges. So would it even matter if they were going back to the my career grinding if it barely took any time? But the bigger part of all of this is that if we're grinding badges in my career next year exclusively, not the Park, does that mean we have a Park rep system back? Because the whole principle of the road to 99 is that the XP used to grind the badges goes towards your rep. But if that's not in Park next year, then that means we have a rep system, right? Hey, I'm just trying to put the pieces together. Like, that makes sense, right? If they have a rep system back exclusively for Park that we've all been asking for, this game is looking amazing. Like, after that, we just want to see the rep rewards in the Park. Now, on top of all of this, all these tweets, all the clips, 2K released an article. Now, I did the honor of reading this article for you guys. Mike Wang wrote it. It was actually pretty long. There were a few big things in this article that we did not see on Twitter. The first is the new defensive system, and it's supposed to help predict where they're gonna go for you. So right off the bat, it seems really overpowered, and then apparently lockdowns and stuff like that are gonna have better versions of it, and then the skill in it is like your reaction time to it. And it's supposed to make one-on-ones a lot better. Hopefully it's not post scores again, but I'm interested to see how that works and how that's balanced in the game. Now, the problem with defense in 2K20 is that you were rewarded for spamming square. Like, if you were a lockdown, especially if you had takeover, especially if you're guarding a playmaker, it's not like you would strategize when you're supposed to press square. You would just... So I thought the best way to combat that would be if you press it too many times at once, your player would end up leaning too far in a direction or just actually get penalized for it. But maybe they just didn't figure out how to do that, or they thought that this was a better way. There's this new ring that's a solid circle when the person you're guarding is not likely to lose the ball. But then the more broken up the circle, the more vulnerable you are to lose the ball. So that's when you're supposed to press square. It just sounds really overpowered for lockdowns. I don't know if that's just me. And then finally, the biggest part of this article, Park badges are back. Now, it's not called Park badges, it's called neighborhood badges or neighborhood based badges, but I mean, it's Park badges. I thought this was a great idea. I'm sad they took it out. This is actually one of the best things they put in 2K17. The problem with like 18 and 19 is that everything you would get in Park, you could just get easier in my career playing robots. But especially if there's an actual rep system on top of like Park badges that are going to make the game more fun, like, I just think that's a step back in the right direction. And with all that, we do have a little bit more. I mean, this is everything we know about 2K20. So this has to do with gameplay. First, we have shot contest. I complain about this a lot in 2K19. LD said it's not as automated as it felt last year, and I kind of know what he means. Like, I'll be the same distance from a defender. Sometimes I flick my right stick up and I get a good animation. I actually get a contest, especially as a guard. Sometimes it doesn't actually flick up until after he shot the ball and it's too late. And instead of it being like lightly, heavily, and smothered, rip smothered shots, it's gonna be a percentage next year. This was found in like the leaked gameplay. So I guess that's supposed to give you a better idea of what is contested. I mean, you guys remember they changed the shot contest like 10 times this year. And then for layup shot contest or just layup defense, like you guys see, my play sharp misses a wide open layup like every 3 games, but then he makes smothered layups, and this is a play sharp, so that hopefully is fixed. That's basically what our boy Mike was saying. Dribbling, we barely talked about that. Of course, I'm excited for it. And the first thing is speed boosting. Now this is big. It's not based on ball control anymore. It's based on speed with ball, and it's pretty much always been based on ball control in any 2K. But it seems like the animation packs are still ball control based, but the ability to speed boost is speed with ball based, and that's huge because it's pretty much always been like 86 ball control you can speed boost, and this is like the first year it's different. So when I test the players in the demo, look out for me finding like the tallest you could possibly go with still being able to speed boost. And then this part kind of confused me. I didn't know exactly what Mike Wang was talking about, still to do with dribbling, but he was saying each flick of the right stick is basically a single move, so no more auto doing stuff. So I guess rhythm dribbles, I think this is more like 17, like you make the size ups, but instead of size up it's also rhythm dribbles. I'm really confused. I'm gonna have to show you guys when we get the demo. And then finally the shot meter, it was leaked. It's like 2K17's, also like this year where there's hands and feet or both or none. But this one's interesting. So there's different green animations to your shot meter. There's quick flash, water splash, and paint splash. So that's going to be interesting. I like that. Hopefully they have the jump shot celebrations as well. So I mean, you just get to customize everything when you green a shot. And there was a video of, I guess, a leaked green. This one's probably the water splash, right? So I like that. You know, it makes the game a lot of fun. Like jump shot celebrations, even though it's like, I guess not as functional, like it makes the game fun. And also apparently you can see other people's greens, so they can't lie, oh I missed a green. Like you're not gonna get that anymore. Now if only you could see other people's shot meters so you know when they half bar. Hey, but that's about it. That's everything we pretty much know on 2K20. I mean, there's a lot of minor stuff. There's my GM stuff. The soundtrack was released. There's a couple trailers, but like we don't really get much out of that. But the main, juicy part was all the tweets and stuff we got for the past couple days. Again, make sure you guys drop a like down below. As always, we're going for 5,000 likes. Thank you guys so much for watching. I am back to uploading every other day. Huge things are coming to the channel, so thank you guys for all the support. If you don't have noties on, you got to turn them on. You don't want to miss any more of this stuff. You guys don't want to miss any more 2K20 content when it rolls out. 2 weeks, guys. 2 weeks. It's crazy to think about. Go watch more videos. They're going to be in the outro, and I'll talk to you guys in the next one. Peace.